Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord, and welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. Today we have 3 new cards that we need to talk about. A new Produce SSR for Kiriko, Support SSR for Fuyuko, and Support SSR for Sakuya. Keep in mind that Kiriko and Fuyuko are both limited. You may not have an opportunity to pull for them for quite a while, so if you're a fan of Kiriko and Fuyuko, now's the time to pull. Starting things off, we have Kiriko. Okay, first off, we all knew that Kiriko would be next. Let's not fool ourselves. We only had one more SSR5 of the initial set of idols outside of Stray Light and Nocchill, so Kiriko had to arrive. Kiriko 5 is an interesting return to form, adopting many of the older strategies of Antika. With access to Melancholy, aka Poison, stat buffing to dance, and some revival shenanigans, Kiriko truly feels like a condensed trip down memory lane. If you ever wanted a Kiriko with incredibly beefy passives, stat buffing, and revival, Kiriko 5 is your best bet. Kiriko boasts one of the strongest passives on a Produce SSR, tied with only the most recent limited cards at 120%. The main draw is that her passives also have a great activation chance and can be used multiple times with some consistency. She's in a little bit of an awkward spot as one of the rising Antika teams, referred to as the Yuika Canon, might not use Kiriko on account of Onsen Kiriko, her last limited support, having stronger passives than what this Kiriko offers. But in general, Dance Antika have definitely found a new center. Her roles are Center, Buffer, with a little bit of Revival thrown in there, a Revenge unit, and she has access to Poison. I moderately to highly recommend pulling for Kiriko. If she's your favorite, pull. If you're a fan of Antika, definitely try to pull. Kiriko's initial skill is a Dance 3.5 appeal that increases your dance by 25% for 5 turns and inflicts a 5% poison to all units for 3 turns. Her Link appeal is an auto revive that will revive you at 30% HP. This buff lasts for 5 turns and can only activate once. At max, the skill upgrades to a Dance 5.0 appeal, the dance becomes 50% for 5 turns, and the Melancholy is increased to 10% for 3 turns against all units. The Link appeal stays the same at an auto revive of 30% HP, so in other words, if your mental reaches 0, you'll return with 30% of your maximum mental. This buff lasts for 5 turns and can activate once. Kiriko's 1-star passive is a Dance 50% up that requires Kiriko on your team. It has a 30% chance to activate 3 times. Her 2-star passive is a Dance 75% up that requires an active Melancholy buff. This has a 30% chance to activate 3 times, and she also unlocks an additional Dance plus 50 uncap. At 3 stars, Kiriko gains 2 separate uncaps, a Dance plus 150 and a Dance plus 50. At 4 stars, she gains another passive, a Dance 120% up that requires your mental to be 29% or lower. This has a 40% chance to activate 3 times. Her memory appeal, once maxed out, is a Dance 2.0 appeal that links into a maximum Dance 4.0 appeal to all judges that increases based on how low your mental is. So if you're at full HP, it's only a 0.8. If you're at critical HP, it is a 4.0. For the support recommendations. It took us long enough, but Halloween Yuika finally has a proper home. Antika's dance lineup without access to Kiriko is a little weird, but you can make the most of it. Fuyuko and Asahi are a powerful duo for dance building as well. For the alternatives, it's almost impossible still to count out the Sakuya Mamimi SR support, thanks to its useful 4-star appeal and solid SP generation. She honestly could just be a high recommendation outright, but some people feel it weird to necessarily say that an SR is core, so I put her at the top of the list down here. The rest of the cards are fully based on preference, so mix and match to find what you need. I do definitely recommend picking an Asahi if you do choose to take the Fuyuko approach, in order to make use of her unit mastery, but we'll get into that later. As for the team recommendations, the main idea here is to let Yuika 3 be your dance position card, giving her plenty more damage as Kiriko serves as a much better center for Dance Antika, which is what this team is. Your choice of Kogane depends on how much you prefer pure dance, aka Kogane 2, or want some visual spice with Kogane 5. Kogane 5 does have the better passives, so she might still be a better card to pick overall. As for Sakuya, Sakuya 3 invests more into the Melancholy side of things, so if you want to play into that Poison, Sakuya 3 is a great choice, or Sakuya 5 if you want a more modern card. Yuika 3 being the crux of everything, Kiriko being your center, and Mamimi 5 being a very solid choice for dance. Mamimi does have another Melancholy card in the form of Mamimi 1, but it would be playing a little off-brand, as she's only vocal and visual. Kiriko earns high marks across the board. As a center, having a Dance 6.0 memory appeal is definitely something to keep an eye on, and actually frees up some space within Dance Antika teams for a card like Eureka 3. I don't really know what else to say. If you can get yourself to that ideal critical HP threshold, Kiriko will output a crazy amount of damage. Nothing more, nothing less. As a unit, Kiriko really felt that she needed 3 chances to use a 120% dance buff, while having some reasonable ways to set it up without much fear. Combined with her fairly standard single target damage and a little extra poison damage to herself and rivals, Kiriko's another top build card. My only real complaint is that her first case of limited poison isn't stronger than any permanent card necessarily, so it may feel somewhat unnecessary unless we're in Gimmick Fest, where Judge HP is much higher, meaning that it's much easier to potentially poison out your rivals, and stay as the last man standing. Moving on, we have Fuyuko. This is a very nutty card. If you were ever interested in experimenting with Dance Straylight, Fuyuko absolutely has you covered. With an impressive level of unit mastery SP combined with Straylight's consistent limit up skill and some added stamina masteries, Fuyuko makes sure the dance room is 100% worth your while. Even non-Straylight teams can find use of this card, especially when paired up with a card like Asahi, since many of Asahi's cards are dance to stay on brand. Mei doesn't have a super crazy dance support just yet, but when she eventually has one, she will also be great to pair with this Fuyuko. Fuyuko's support skills are Idol's Bond, Promise Recovery, Rest Boost, and Stamina support, and she has 3 unique support skills: Unit Mastery SP reaching plus 10 at level 80, Dance Mastery Dance Limit reaching plus 5 at level 75, and Dance Mastery Stamina reaching plus 5 at level 75. Her support appeal does scale, staying a Dance 3.0 from level 1 to level 80, but starting from level 60 it gains 3 active buffs, a Dance 1% for 3 turns, 5 turns, and 8 turns, and by level 80 it becomes 5% for 3 turns, 5 turns, and 8 turns. So Dance 3% up at level 60, and Dance 15% up at level 80. Her TFD idea is Dance, and her Insight token for Grad is Vocal. Fuyuko's 1-star passive is a Dance 40% up that requires an active dance buff. It has a 10% chance to activate 3 times. Her 2-star passive is a Dance 100% up that requires 5 or more active dance buffs. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a Dance plus 100, and her 4-star appeal is a Dance 3.0 that increases your dance by 20% for 5 turns, as well as your dance and visual by 10% for 10 turns. So 3 active buffs total, 2 for dance, 1 for visual. Her event passive is a Dance 30% up that requires Fuyuko on your team, and it has a 20% chance to activate twice. Fuyuko is honestly really good. If you can make the most of active buffs to guarantee Fuyuko's 2-star passive, you have a legitimate threat building up that doesn't revolve around revenge appeals for dance. If you've ever been hurting for a dance support to pair off with many cards like Asahi's SSRs as an example, this new Fuyuko is an incredible choice regardless of the number of copies you manage to find. She's great at 0 stars and phenomenal at 4 stars. I highly recommend pulling for this Fuyuko. Lastly, we have Sakuya, our event card. New Sakuya is very basic, though her grad token and TFD idea might be a little bit misleading. She's an event SSR with access to Interest Ignore through a 2.8 times appeal, with unit mastery vocal and a somewhat appreciated stamina skill for photo shoots. She's definitely an interesting vocal pick for TFD teams, though her passives aren't necessarily super powerful compared to any modern gacha card, but that's sort of par for the course for being an event card. Sakuya's support skills include Idol's Bond, Promise Recovery, and Rest Boost, and her unique support skills are Unit Mastery Vocal reaching plus 8 at level 75, and Photo Shoot Mastery Stamina reaching plus 4 at level 80. Her support appeal scales starting at a Vocal 2.5, working its way to a Vocal 3.0 by level 80. Her TFD idea, as well as Grad Insight token, are both visual. Sakuya's 1-star passive is a Vocal 18% up that requires an active vocal buff. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Vocal 35% up that requires the turn count to be 4 or later. This has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a plus 50 to Vocal, and her 4-star appeal is a Vocal 2.8 that ignores the judge's interest, so that is both interest up and interest down. Her event passive is a Vocal 20% up that requires Sakuya on your team, and it has a 10% chance to activate twice. Sakuya is pretty middling, but solid overall. Passive-wise, she is a carbon copy of the last scenario SSR Mei, just vocal instead of visual. The 2.8 appeal that ignores interest could be useful if you find that Kiriko teams have been giving you trouble, but you might find less use than you think. I also don't really quite get her 1-star passive, as it makes her more dependent on other cards than pretty much any other support, really. So I do find that a little concerning, but we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it becomes more of a current trend. The masteries are still solid, and she'll definitely help vocal on Tika a small bit if you're just getting started. I recommend farming for the Sakuya. And that'll do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next, so make sure to tune in. If you want more Shiny Colors content, make sure to subscribe to the channel before you take off. I've been Sho, thanks for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day.